To create a new template for Revit using one of the existing templates that come with the software, click New as if you were going to start a new project. In the New Project dialog box, go ahead and find the template that you want to start with. In this example, I'll browse to the location where the default templates are stored. And for this example, I'll choose the system's default template. This is the template that comes for Revit MEP and includes pre-built views and some content for both electrical and mechanical, as well as plumbing, not just the mechanical template or the electrical template. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one. And then, most important, here in the New Project dialog box, I'm going to choose Project Template instead of Project. This basically causes this to become a new template with an RTE extension as opposed to a project with an RVT extension. So at this point, I'm in my new template. And I'll go ahead and save the template. And of course here I'd save it up to a file server or something. In this case I'll just save it to a folder on my hard disk. And I'll call this one Example MEP Template. Now the next step after actually creating the template is to make it easy to get to. So I'll go ahead and close my template for now. I may come back and edit that later. And what I would like to do is have that template appear up here in this list. So to do that, I'm going to go to Options. I'm going to go to File Locations. And I'm going to add that location to this list. So I'm going to click on the plus sign here to add a value. There's the template that I just created. And then I can move this up to the top of the list if I like. And the first 5 items in the list will show up in this list over here. So with that at the top, I can also change the name of it. Standard MEP template, whatever I want to call it. This is just a name that points to the file at that location. And when I click OK, that file is now at the top of the list. And if I choose this option to create a new project, it becomes the de facto default template. Once you've established your template and you wish to develop it, it's relatively straightforward. In this example, I have the sample template I created earlier open. And in another project that I have open, I've made a couple of changes to my standards, and I'll get to those in a minute. First, I just want to point out, in the Manage ribbon, if I go to MEP settings, and in particular mechanical settings, and then in the mechanical settings, look at my duct sizes. I've turned, or in the template rather, everything is still as it normally is out of the box in Revit. You'll notice it for rectangular, oval, and round. All of these duct sizes are still listed, available in the size lists as well as in sizing. Additionally, there are no schedules in this template, and schedules are one of the things that you can standardize in Revit. Now if I toggle over to my other project, in this project, if we go to my MEP settings and we look at those same duct size settings, you'll notice that I've made some changes. So in this particular instance, I've decided that I normally don't want to be using these half-inch increments for sizing or in the size list, and I don't want 3-inch rectangular duct. Likewise with oval duct, I've eliminated some of the smaller sizes, and for round duct as well, I've turned off the half-inch increments. And I'd like this to become a standard in future projects. Additionally, I have a schedule created, which is a view list, and this is a very handy schedule. You wouldn't obviously plot this, but it's a handy schedule to have for project management where you can quickly see critical properties of all of the views in your Revit project. I'd like to have this in any of my future projects as well without having to recreate it each time. So there's 2 tools that I'm going to use to migrate these settings forward. The first thing I'm going to do is go back to my template. And to pull those settings and a large part of any other standards you might change over, you can use the Transfer Project Standards tool. Transfer Project Standards is located over here toward the right side of the ribbon. And when I open this up, I simply need to have the project that I want to transfer the standards from open at the same time that I'm in the project or the template that I want to transfer the standards into. So in this case, I'm in my template and I have the project that I want to transfer from open. Now I'm going to check none because I don't want to transfer everything, just those things that I've changed. And I'm going to go down here to my duct sizes. Those are the duct settings, or the duct size settings I should say. And I'm going to click OK. Now all this is telling me is that I've already got duct sizes defined in my template. I've got a different set of duct sizes in the other project. Do I want to overwrite what I've got here, or do I want to only bring in something that might be new? This doesn't really apply here. I mean, you're always going to be overwriting these, but this would be the case where maybe I'm bringing in, I've created new text types or new dimension types or something. In that case, I could say just bring in the new types that I've defined. Don't overwrite anything that already exists. In this case, though, I want to overwrite. So I'm going to go ahead and click Overwrite. And you'll notice when I go back up now to my MEP settings in the example MEP template, and I go to my duct sizes, sure enough, those sizes have now been updated and they're now part of my standards. When I save this template, create a new project the next time using this template, those changes have been made. It's a little different with the schedules. You can't use Transfer Project Standards to pull schedules over, but there are quite a few other things that you can use Transfer Project Standards for. For the schedules and for drafting views and sheets, you can pull those over using the Insert Views from File tool. So if I click on Insert, Insert from File, Insert Views from File, I can do that. However, before I can do that, the file that I'm transferring from must have been saved. So I'm going to go back to that sample project and just give it a name. I'll just save this and just call it Sample Project. It doesn't have to be open when I do this. I'll leave it open, but that's really irrelevant. Back in the template, I'll now go to Insert, Insert from File, Insert Views from File, and I'll navigate to that same file that I just saved. Revit will read that file and show me all views in that file currently that can be copied essentially over into this file. The only one in there is that schedule, so I'll go ahead and tell Revit I want to transfer that file, that view in. And there is my schedule in the template. Now, most schedules that you transfer across will be empty because obviously if you're doing a duct schedule, for example, or a lighting fixture schedule, it's going to be empty until you have the light fixtures in there. But once you start dropping light fixtures into a project, the schedule will populate, but it'll already be formatted, and that's the key here. The reason this already has content in it is because I already have views in my template. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and go back to maybe the starting view that I want to begin in a template or in a new project, save my template, and it's now been updated to include the new duct size settings as well as the view schedule that I created in my project.